Hello friends, welcome to Week 8's NFL predictions video. Last week's schedule saw a few upsets. Who saw Washington taking it to the Cowboys? Not me. And a few pretty juicy injuries. So let's try and make a bit of sense of it going into Week 8. Thursday Night Football has the Falcons being hosted by the Panthers. Now, are the Falcons the unluckiest team in the NFL, or are they just the weakest mentally? It could be a bit of column A and a bit of column B, to be honest, because they had another absolute brain fart against the Lions last week. Todd Gurley, first down, great. 1 minute to go. It's going to be fine. Take a couple of knees, kick the field goal. You were only down by 2, you win by 1. Fantastic. He runs it for a first down. Carries on, gets the 1 yard line. Fantastic. Falls into the end zone. Touchdown. Good. 6 points. 8 points because they got a 2-point conversion as well. They're up by 6. And there's still a minute left for Matt, game-winning machine, Stafford to get the Lions down the field. And lo and behold, he does. And the Falcons lose. Again. I don't know what the solution is for the Falcons. They've already sacked their coach. So what's the next step? Big question mark. Don't know. Gonna have to go with the Panthers here. Because I just don't believe the Falcons really know how to win a game. Certainly not a close one anyway. Although they've been losing everything. Panthers by 3. That's the bottom line. Let's start Sunday. The Vikings and the Packers. This is a usually very bitter divisional matchup and usually has a lot of bearing on who wins the division. Not so much this year. They're going in with opposite records. Packers blew the Vikings out in week 1, although the Vikings did make it respectable towards the end of the game, a couple of late touchdowns. But I think this is going to be pretty much a repeat. Strange stat for the Packers last week. Davante Adams led the team's wide receivers with 196 yards. In second place, Malik Taylor, who had 2 catches for 6 yards. I'm not saying the Packers are a 2-man team, but I'm not saying the Packers are a 2-man team. Packers by 11. Let's hope Aaron Jones is back. You know, fantasy football and all that. The Titans travelling to face the Bengals next off the back of a pretty humbling defeat by the Steelers. They'll be hoping to get off to a better start in this one, having been 27-7 down just after half-time against Pittsburgh. The Bengals had a chance to get the win against the Browns, but they couldn't close it out. So this should be a return to the win column for the Titans, but Joe Burrow did have a career performance last week, 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. That said, I don't think it will have as much luck against the Titans' defence. And I have the Titans by 12. The Jets and the Chiefs going at it next. And, oh god, this could get ugly. Ugly like the Chiefs' last game against the Broncos in a snowstorm. Ugly like the Jets. Just ugly like the Jets, actually. They managed to hold Josh Allen last week to 0 touchdowns, which is commendable. But, you know, they couldn't get anything done offensively anyway, despite having a 10-0 lead at one point. You would expect Pat Mahomes to want to use this game to kind of reprove his MVP standing. And I'm going to go with the Chiefs by 25. 35-10. Or 38-13 maybe. Do I think the Jets will score 3 times? Probably not. Let's go for the Lions hosting the Colts next. And we've discussed the Lions. They've used their luck quota for the year. I reckon the Colts will be nicely rested after their bye week. And they'll be too strong on both sides of the ball. Don't go expecting any surprises in this one. Colts by 11. Leaving that, we have this week's marquee matchup. The unbeaten Steelers travelling to Baltimore for a date with destiny and the Ravens. This game will be pretty crucial for the Ravens, I think, to, re-announce themselves as still being true Super Bowl contenders. I think if they lose this one, people will start to doubt them. Lamar Jackson has not been great so far this year. The Ravens' bye last week will have given them plenty time to stew on the fact the Eagles almost took them to overtime in week 6. And I reckon they'll come out big and early in this one. I predict we are going to lose the last unbeaten team. And I've got the Ravens by 7. Ain't no 16-0 seasons this year. The Rams against the Dolphins next. And it's Tua time! Yeah! I am so excited. So excited to see him play. After his wee cameo last time out against the Jets, the Dolphins were pretty quick to announce, actually, that he'd become the starter from here onwards. So, first match, less than optimal. Massive match against Aaron Donald and the Rams. But, if we want to see how Tua's hip's going to hold up in the NFL, who is better to test it than the man-beast that is no, not Rhino, Aaron Donald. The Rams are finding form as the season progresses, and, that probably bodes badly for us. But don't rule anything out this week. I'm going to get slated for this, but I have Dolphins by 3. If you've got anything to say about that, you know where the comment section is. It's going to be a dumpster fire, I know. I just have a feeling. Tua's going to get his first win. Well, his second win. First win as a starter. Bills host the Patriots. Which means it is time for... Josh Watch! Josh Watch! Josh Watch! It's Josh Watch. Really? You can't even get a touchdown against the Jets? You suck! Josh Watch! Josh Watch! Josh Watch! It's Josh Watch. In all seriousness, though, the Bills had little trouble moving the football last week. They couldn't capitalise on anything they made for themselves. That is probably quite worrying if you're a Bills fan. They're going to have to be a lot sharper against the New England Belichicks. But Cam Newton is officially patient zero in testing the effects of contracting COVID versus one's talent level. He came back last week and was benched for Jarrett Stidham. He threw 3 picks and a grand total of 96 yards of passing. Both teams will probably be pushing really hard to do as well as they can in this one after, their relative performances last week. I reckon this could actually be a pretty close game. I'm going to go with the Bills by 3. Mostly because I'd like to see us well ahead of the Patriots. Or, at least still one game ahead of the Patriots. Closing out the early games, we've got the Raiders at the Browns. Now, the Raiders were blown out by Brady's Bucks last week. Welcome back to my fantasy team, Gronk. Where have you been? But the Browns continued their pattern of a blowout loss, followed by 4 victories, followed by a blowout loss, and now they're, one game into a run of 4 victories, so to speak. Logic dictates they will win this one as well, and they'll force the continuation. But they'll probably find it more difficult now that OBJ has done his ACL in and is out for the season. Still, Browns by 9. They'll have too much for the Raiders. Sunday evening's games, the Broncos hosting the Chargers. Now, luckily, the forecast for Denver on Sunday is about 15 degrees and, no snow, crucially. So we might get something resembling a football game. But neither team has really looked like they'll be playing much in the way of good football, so I don't think it'll be a particularly great football game. Each team is going into this with one relative saving grace. For the Broncos, it's the fact their defence has been pretty reasonable despite all of the manpower they've lost through injury. And for the Chargers, it's the fact Justin Herbert is looking like an NFL pro and has far outpaced what I think a lot of pundits had projected for him. We'll see which of these gives here. I reckon it'll be the Broncos' defence. I've got the Chargers by 10. Got the Bears hosting the Saints next. And, I am a fantasy owner of Michael Thomas. And I was last year as well. And I thoroughly enjoyed it last year. And I've not enjoyed it at all this year. Finally looking like we're going to get him back. Does his hamstring in practice. Misses week 7. And it looks like he's going to miss week 8 as well. For the Saints, they've got pretty much no one left at wide receiver now. Emmanuel Sanders, out with COVID. Marquez Callaway, looking like he's going to be out as well. He was pulled out of the game last week. So, if you are a fantasy owner of Mike Thomas, don't fret. I have it on good authority that Traquan Smith is going to get 60 points this week. Against a horribly difficult secondary in the form of Da Bears. Yeah, you're probably going to want to avoid going near that one. Don't be drawn in. He is the only person they've got to throw the ball to, but I don't think they'll be throwing the ball much. The Bears have not looked convincing on their way to a 5-2 record. They've pushed their luck the entire time. And, while it's never a great time to go up against the Saints, this is probably an opportune moment as they're going to get. However, it's still the Bears. And I think between Breeze and Kamara, they've got enough to push themselves past the Bears. And I am going to go Saints by 3. Battle of the West Coast. The Niners travel up to face the Seahawks. This is the last Sunday evening game. And honestly, it's the TV game this week for us in the UK. And it's going to be an absolute headache to predict. We've seen both sides of the 49ers so far this year. They had a blowout loss to the Dolphins in week 5, followed by a tough win against the Rams. And then a complete demolition of the Patriots last week. So, what 49ers are we going to get? Who knows? And as far as the Seahawks go, for every bit as good as their offense has been, they've been really fragile on defense. And I can see a lot of points being scored here, a la the Niners-Saints game towards the end of last season. Logic dictates the home team having the edge here. And as such, that's where my prediction's going to go. But this could be an absolute doozy. I'm going to go Seahawks by 4. Sunday Night Football, the Cowboys facing the Eagles in Philadelphia. Who wants to be a Cowboys quarterback? That is the question. Fresh off of Dak's horrible leg break. It's so horrible, I can't even say the word horrible. Andy Dalton comes in and gets absolutely creamed by a late hit. Carts out the game with a concussion, leaving the Cowboys using their third choice quarterback, Ben DiNucci? Well, the Cowboys are probably not going to put Dalton back in the line of fire against a Philly front 7, which leads the league in sacks this year. So it looks like it's going to be down to DiNucci or Their fourth choice quarterback. Garrett Gilbert, you say? No idea. Yeah, who knows? It's not going to be a great quarterback showing anyway. Let's be perfectly honest about it. Does anyone want to win the NFC East? Because 3 teams with 2 wins, 1 team with 1 win. They're all still in it technically. It looks like that tie the Eagles had against the Bengals is going to be potentially quite crucial, and they're actually heavy favourites to win the division despite a 2-4-1 record. I've got them as favourites here. I don't think it's going to be a great game. I'm going to go Eagles by 8. Let's tie this up. We've got Monday Night Football, the Buccaneers, who are fresh off the signing of Antonio Bloody Brown. Because why limit yourself to 3 world-class catchers of the ball when you can have 4? Taking on the Giants, who would be happy to have anyone at this stage. Some of these games have been pretty tough to predict. This one is not. This one screams blowout to me. This one potentially could be a shutout, I think. I'm going to hope that Danny Dimes remembers how his legs work before, it's too late. Hopefully he can prove me wrong a little bit. They're certainly not going to win. I've got the Buccaneers by 28. And that is going to do it for me this week. Hit me up in the comments if, you think the Dolphins are going to lose. We're not. We're definitely not going to lose. But, if you disagree with any of my picks, if you've just got anything in general to say, I'd love to hear it. Until the next one, bye for now.